Hey,
Vanya,
darlings, are you sure? It's not a city. How are you going to live there? Mom, everything will be fine. I will live there. Son, think about it. Why? Can't you do something else? Mom, I need to think, get ready, and I tried in the city, you know. Come to us. I'll be next to you. Son, but Forrest. Mom, I will come. Nothing will happen, and I will call. I don't understand this, but okay, if you think it will help you, Ivan hurriedly packed the necessary things. It will be necessary to jump into the market for what is not enough, and time is running out. The speed is getting darker, and it's a failed idea to go to the forest at night. For a minute he thought about it, plunging into his thoughts. Everything was so wonderful, and then in one moment it collapsed like a card house. And now, for several months, he has been collecting himself in pieces. Memories from the past were poured on him, like shots from films. They were blinking before his eyes, floating up in successive pictures. They were friends since childhood with Yana. They grew up together, so to speak. They lived on the same floor. Their parents communicated with each other. The communication of children was encouraged and rejoiced when their children found common language. They became water lovers. They often spent time with each other. She was a mischievous one, the soul of the company, and the first one to start the yard. From the very morning she had already called him under the balcony, calling for fun games in the Cossacks' riots, building another hut in the neighboring field sand, or catch tarantulas on plasticine. And he, not having breakfast, under the dissatisfied grumbling of his mother, jumped into the yard, ready to support her friend in any of her plans. After all, it's all so fun. It was never boring with this girl. Even in bad weather, she easily invented a fun activity for them. And Vanya always happily supported these games. When it was raining, they hid under a wide balcony, caught leaves falling from the powerful raindrops, and immediately built ships that let the waves of the river in the rainwater that flowed along the border of the borders. In winter, they played in the snow and sculpted a snow woman who turned out to be the best of all the blind children. Yana took out her old scarf and carrot. Vanya asked his mother for an old bucket, and they decorated their creation together. He was 2 years older, but he considered Yanka equal and did not hurt anyone. And she could stand up for herself. How much did they go through together? A lot. How many sadist wounds did they heal each other with a roadside car, so that their mothers wouldn't find out and punish them? What a shame. One day, Yana fell from a tree. She then broke her lip and Vanya stole half of the first aid kit from the house, just so that her parents wouldn't notice. Of course, they noticed, and 2 days later they let the girl out on the street. Summer is the best time for games and pranks, and Yana is punished. It's not so interesting to play with other children. Ivan went on a vow and promised to watch Yana if she was released. And the cat was rescued from the tree, which then gave birth to kittens in the entrance, for which they looked after each other. Then they were raising a crow with a broken wing. There was something that they walked on the arrow with the kids from the neighboring yard, and then they justified themselves for a long time, standing in front of their terrible parents, explaining the appearance of bruises and worn clothes. In school, Yana was not brilliant. She was not stupid, but her excessive activity prevented her from focusing on something alone, so Vanya helped her with lessons, pulling on the missing items. He waited for her at every exchange to talk to her for at least 5 minutes. Probably the whole class thought they were a couple, but it was not so. For him, she was something much more than just a beloved, close soul. He loved her with pure love, was ready to fight for her, accept any punishment for her, be a vest for her for tears, and a strict teacher in school. He protected her from jealous girlfriends and arrogant boys. He drove away all unnecessary people in life. He breathed her life, and it seemed to him that it was right. There could be no other way. At the graduation, it was she who was his partner. He was envied by all the boys. A couple of the bravest even tried to take Yana away from him. But she, as a queen, looking at everyone from top to bottom, refused. Until dawn, staying for Ivan. And then he came to her graduation, and the story repeated. Yana stepped out next to him with a proudly raised head, and he drove away the annoying fans and curious girls. They then became the king and queen of the ball. Yana was like an elvish princess in her dress. The long, flowing dress shone in the light of the lamps in every movement of her, and the hair, with soft waves on the back and decorated with a slightly knitted braid, subtly complemented the magical image. After school, their paths parted. No, they still saw each other and walked together, but now only occasionally. Ivan joined the military, and Yana chose the profession of a doctor. There was almost no time for each other. Now everyone was on their own way. But there were days when they still met. He was tall, stately, with black eyes and broad shoulders, stepped out in the form of the entrance, and she, thin, light, almost weightless. The blue-eyed blonde in a light dress jumped out and jumped into his embrace. The neighbors looked out the window and with a smile watched this couple. They remembered how just recently these two barefooted were wearing in the yard, and now looked very adult, reminding everyone that time is fast running out. When they walked along the embankment, people turned their heads and heard them whispering, "Beautiful couple." But they didn't become a couple. Ivan only once said that, but got such a cold look that he immediately understood that they would never be together. And although he was bitter about realizing this simple truth, he accepted it. He decided to be always by his side and protect his childhood friend. In order not to lose his friendship, he had to make up with it, stay true to the role of a defender and friend, support her and protect her from indignation and bad people. Their parents dreamed of uniting children, but they did not take advice. No matter what happens, not small, they will deal with it without their advice. But there was nothing to deal with. They were just friends, and it will always be like that. Yana didn't think about relationships at all. She was studying all her time. There was a year left before graduation, then boarding school, not until the amour cases, and there was no suitable candidate. The girl knew that she was getting married to Ivan, but she loved him like a brother, and she did not imagine how hard her husband tried. And then he appeared on the horizon. With a light walk, passing by, he only threw a glaring look at Yana, and then disappeared. No, she didn't fall in love like that right away. It's just that his unusual eyes seemed to be imprinted in her memory. One blue, another green. The dining room behind the next table, leaving the director's office. Wherever the girl went, her eyes were following her everywhere. Some kind of intuition. I complained to my friend. Where not to look. Everywhere. Just. Is he following me, or what? Everything can be. You would be more careful. Don't think about Vanya. He didn't even talk to me once. He doesn't look in my direction. Or maybe it's fate. He winked at the guy and pushed him with his elbows to Yana's side. Yeah, sure, you're funny, but I'm not. I'll soon be dreaming of his eyes. So what's the problem, Yana? Come up and meet the first one. Clink clink, as they say. Maybe you're right. The girl thoughtfully answered and smiled. Vanya decided to find out for himself what kind of shot it was, such that peace does not give him girlfriends. In the next outing, he went to the university. There his good friends studied and decided to find out everything. He is so different-eyed. I know, of course, our local major. He is a goner. He was transferred to us a couple of months ago. He used to study for a bit, but I heard that he was a bit crazy there. So his daddy returned him to his native Piñata. But what was crazy? I don't know what I don't know. There are different rumors. Some say that he was pregnant with a girl, daughter of some local shishka. Others tell that he did not share something with the priest, and the third one was given drugs in general, and who knows what is true. And while Ivan was doing his little investigation, Yana, who had already gained courage, met Yura. The guy seemed friendly. The conversation immediately started. Yana even showed that she had known him for many years. It was so easy with him. He invited her to the cafe, but the girl refused. The guy is handsome, but not before that. Exams are coming. We need to pull up our tails. She met him, talked to him, and she will. Maybe now he will stop looking at her. In the evening, Vanya came to her room in the dorm and told her everything he knew about her. Come on, he's a normal guy. I met him. He didn't do anything bad to me. You should be more careful with him, okay? I'll wash his neck if necessary, but don't lose your head either. Okay, I won't. And Yura didn't disappear. It seemed that now he began to appear more often in the girl's field of vision, but if it was an accident before, then now his gaze was pinned to Yana. She felt it on the skin. A heat ran through the body. Yana was not enough to turn at such a moment, and now he stands and burns her with his gaze. Yanka, you're stupid. Such a guy is chasing you, and you're spinning your nose. If he looked at me, I would have given up immediately. Well, go ahead. He's free. What's stopping you? You think I didn't try? I say hello to him, and he says, "How's Yana?" I call him for coffee, and he says, "Will Yana be with us?" Yes, he's nothing, and he sees no one but you. The guy is gone. Oh, he'll run and switch to someone else. I don't know. I think she won't switch. The girl just moved away from her friend's statement. Not much that Yura thought up there. She doesn't like him, and that means he has no chance. Let her find fun somewhere else, and she has a degree. Before the release, Ayana noticed Yura for herself. He joined their company, often spending time with her friends. He was constantly in front of her, but did not take any action. He hid like a predator before the jump and waited for something. Gradually the girl relaxed and forgot to think about this guy, but they are friends and okay. The main thing is that she does not get bored and does not touch. Maybe she will finally notice how her girlfriend will eat him with her eyes, and they will be happy. The thunder rumbled at the graduation. Yana, as always, danced with Vanya, who played the role of her partner on this evening. When some guy gently pushed him away, Vanya didn't even immediately realize what happened. So he circles around Yana in the center of the hall, playing smooth music, and there is already one in front of the columns, and Yana, in a beautiful turn, leads some impudent person to the side. What are you doing, Yura? And I'm dancing with the most beautiful girl of this university and this evening. Thank you, of course, but I already have a partner. This warrior. Who is he to you? A groom? What's your business? So, no, then it's not scary. He abruptly twisted her in place and tilted her so that her hair touched the floor. Yura, let me go. Vanya is waiting for me. Let's finish the dance and let go. I promise. Okay. He managed to lead her along the dance floor. His movements were smooth and clear. Every step was perfect. He never stepped back, never stepped on his foot. They turned around. They applauded. Yana was all riled up by such attention. You blushed? Hot? No, I just don't like this attention. Then let's go. Where? But he did not answer. He grabbed Yana by the hand, carefully turned around the corner, and led her through the dim corridors. After turning a few times, they found themselves on a spacious terrace. The sky was covered with myriads of stars. In the high tops of the trees, a summer evening was still making noise, bringing such a desired coolness. In the distance, the lights of the lantern poles, cars, and windows of heights were flickering. It seemed that the whole city was covered with stars. How beautiful! And I didn't know that there was this place here. You didn't know much. For example, the fact that I waited for you for a year. Why? And he pressed the girl to himself and drank a kiss in her lips. Yana tried to push him away, but did it somehow sluggishly. Yura himself interrupted the kiss. Sorry, I shouldn't have, but I couldn't hold back. I dreamed about it for a whole year. I noticed you the first day I arrived. I learned everything about you. You didn't want a relationship, you dreamed of getting a diploma, and I respect your decision. I patiently waited all these months. Yura, this is somehow unexpected. I don't know. I'm not in a hurry with you, but let me be close. Okay, but let's be quiet. I promise not to pressure you. At that moment, Vanya appeared on the terrace, saw Yana in the embrace of another. He unconsciously squeezed his fists, but held back. Yana, where are you? Is everything okay? The girl turned to Vanya and smiled. Vanya, meet this Yura. I told you about him. Nice to meet you. He shook Yura's hand, heard a crunch, but whose hand I gave him was not clear. Yana hurried to push Vanya away, felt that the conflict was brewing. Vanya, I want to drink so much. Could you bring me some water? Yes, of course, now. Vanya turned around and came out, checking the steps. It seems your chain dog didn't like me. Don't talk about him like that. He's my friend, like a brother. And if you want us to succeed, you'll have to accept that Vanya is often around. Yura raised his hands as if to surrender. Okay, don't be angry. I won't do it anymore. When Ivan came back, Yura smiled at him and stretched his hand. It seems we didn't start from the beginning. I'm Yuri and I love Yana. I will never hurt her, and I will not let her hurt me. Vanya shook his hand, already without a knife, and also smiled. Look, if you don't keep your word, you will have to deal with me. Agreed. Yana went to the boarding school. Often do her a favor. There was no time for relationships, but Yura was always there despite the fact that they never kissed after graduation. And every evening I waited for her at the gate to take her home. Sometimes I came for lunch and brought food, knowing that Yana had no time to go to the cafe. I cared about her. I gave her flowers and small gifts, played with sweets, and helped her relax. I took her to the cinema, distracted her with conversations, did everything so that she could rest from exhausting work. He became a part of her life, without which the girl no longer understood the meaning. Vanya was also nearby, but his studies are not over yet. There is little left, and then he will be nearby. And while his role was taken by Yuri, who, by the way, turned out to be a good guy, they quickly found common language with Vanya, became friends, and sometimes even spent evenings in the company of each other and bottles of whiskey. Well, you, Creeman, you endure so much. I probably couldn't. I love her. If you need to wait, then why not? But then she will be mine, and then I will not let her go. Hammer, I need it. I will be calm for Yanka. Near the end of the internship, Yura suggested that I not go, and to his surprise, she immediately agreed. I thought about it myself. So you don't mind? No, let's try. They filmed a small studio not far from the hospital, so that the girl could get to work comfortably. They brought her things. At the New Year's Eve they called Vanya, a couple of girls from the course and Yura's parents. His mother was cute, friendly and open. She just stepped on the threshold, immediately filled the apartment and Yana with compliments. Oh, Yana, I heard so much about you from Yura. He whispered to us with his father. Now I understand why. You are so beautiful, and your apartment is cozy, clean and tasty. I wish you happiness and hope for an early wedding. And there, look, grandchildren will go. From such an impetus, Yana was stifled. Yura and her father arrived to help. Mom, well, you've already planned everything. Yana is not embarrassed. She will run away. Well, where can I get you? Well done, son. You chose a good girl, praise. The father poured oil. The evening went well. Yana felt comfortable and was happy in her soul what wonderful things her parents had. Not everyone is so lucky. Although rich, they don't take away our nose. Simple and pleasant. Vanya mostly kept silent. But what he saw, he liked. Good family, all adequate. Yana was very lucky. Only it was sad to realize that he was no longer the main person in her life. Now he's just a friend. By night the guests left, and the couple stayed alone. For the first time in a long time, Yana felt uncomfortable. She and Yura have not been alone for a long time, and now he is standing and eating her eyes. I'm in the shower. The girl sneaked past the guy and hid behind the door of the bathroom. She fell on her back and looked in the mirror. Cheeks burned. It seemed even the lips turned red and swollen. Trusika. She threw herself at her reflection and stepped under the cool water streams. Having calmed down and refreshed, Yana stood a little longer, taking some kind of decision, and then turned around in a towel and left. She was born. She saw it in his eyes, which continuously watched her movements, forcing the heart to beat more often, and the hands are treacherous sweat. They stood opposite each other and did not open their eyes. Yana seemed to be unable to take her eyes off under hypnosis. The breath was beaten, thoughts were confused. I wanted to run, but at the same time I did not want to even move. With one smooth movement, she lowered her towels and she fell to her feet, exposing her body. Her eyes lit up, and he, with one lightning-fast movement, grabbed Yana by the hand and carried her to the bedroom. It seemed he was very surprised when he realized that before him the girl was with no one, but quickly took himself in her hands. That night he showed Yana how he loves her. He was not sad about compliments. He was gentle and careful. Yana melted in his hands. I only regret that I decided to let my beloved one come to me. The morning met her with the aroma of freshly brewed coffee and pastries, judging by the smell of cinnamon. Her favorite, buns. He remembered everything, every little thing. The girl smiled at herself and pulled herself together. She didn't want to get up. Woke up. Good morning, darling. I missed you. We were together. Yana laughed. The moment without you makes me yearn. Will you marry me? Have mercy on your slave. Is it that simple? And why not? I love you. You love me. What's stopping us? Or you don't love me? I love you, of course. Well, that's decided. Half a year has passed since that day. Yana, the happy one, was in the registration room. There were the closest relatives around. Everyone smiled and waved to them, and he did not take his eyes off her. After the official ceremony, there was a trip where everyone took pictures, laughed and joked. The weather was wonderful. The sun shone all over. The light breeze stirred the cotton. Sometimes white butterflies flew by. One even landed on Yana's shoulder, and she looked at her elegant wings for a long time, afraid to move. It was the best day of her life. She loves. She is loved. All the closest people are around. What else is needed for happiness? In the restaurant, she was in the center of the general attention. Many guests were invited by the girl, but she did not know personally. These were guests from the side of the groom, but everyone considered it their duty to make a compliment to the bride and give her a wedding gift. Under the loud screams of grief, she rose, falling into the embrace of her husband, and melted under the pressure of his lips. There was no embarrassment for a long time. She liked the warmth that was pouring through her body, and Yuri was just about to touch it. Ivan was also here. He was happy together with everyone, smiling, and didn't show that somewhere deep in his soul, he was being devoured by jealousy and envy. Yana is no longer his. You should make up with that. After the dance with the groom, the girl came up to him, took her hand, and led her to the dance floor. I thought you were dancing only with your husband now. He doesn't mind. You are my best friend. How can I not dance with you? They were dancing and Ivan enjoyed it. They were silent, each thinking about his own. Yana thinking about the future, about what awaits her after the wedding, what kind of husband Yura will be. Ivan thought how to tell Yana that she is leaving tomorrow. He signed a contract and goes to the sea tomorrow. He'll be back in 6 months. Not earlier if he comes back. January. What? I'm leaving tomorrow. Where? I can't tell you, but I'll be back soon. Will you wait for me? Of course I will. Silly. Thank you. I'm glad. Early in the morning he was standing on the shore and looking at the unruly passers-by. What did he expect to see there? He didn't know. He said goodbye to his parents yesterday, and to Yana too. It's time to just get on the ship and sail away. Vanya already stepped on the path when he heard a scream. He turned around and saw Yana, who was in a hurry to him with all her legs. Yana, didn't you think I'd let you go without saying goodbye? I thought we did it yesterday. No. She came up close and, stretching her hands, put a pendant on Vanya's neck with a chain. Don't take it off, okay? It's a protection. Okay, I won't. Thank you. Take care of yourself, and write if you have the opportunity. Definitely. In the silence of the early morning, the very powerful hum of the ship was heard. I have to go. Okay. He didn't take his eyes off the shore until the last moment, where the lonely figure waved his hand until he hid behind the horizon. Did you make it? Yes, I said goodbye. It's good. Yura was sleeping in the car and smiling at his wife, who had just sat next to him. When will he come back? I don't know exactly, about 6 months later. Don't be sad. Time will fly by quickly. I wish. And at home, before lunch, they took out gifts from guests and counted the money. Life surrounded Yana in her new role. Now, in addition to work, she was also a wife. They bought a flat with Yura, which they rented, and began to arrange their nests. There is no time for sadness left. The girl dedicated herself to her husband completely and completely. During the day she was at work, then home to prepare dinner for Yura's arrival, and at night they were filled with passion. The ship was throwing waves, throwing it away like a toy. The deck was filled with water, but Vanya stood firmly on his feet, shuffling into the ship. The road home was not easy. His journey was not easy. He saw a lot this year, collected a lot of interesting stories, and dreamed of telling them to Yana. There is very little left. Yana is on a weekend today. In the morning she sent Yura to work and took over the general cleaning. She turned on all the music, washed the dishes, vacuumed. She was just wiping the dust when they rang the doorbell. Yana came to the door and looked into her eyes. The entire area of the review was closed by beautiful bouquets of her favorite hydrangeas. Well, Yura well zook, the girl thought and opened the door. Looking at the man standing on his feet, Yana realized that it was not her husband, but someone else. Then the bouquet moved to her, and her strong hands grabbed her. She would recognize these hands from 1,000. Vanya, why didn't you warn me? Surprise. Let's go inside. Laughing, she said, and the girl pulled the man into the apartment. Well, tell me, how did you live all this time? You didn't have a single line. Sukur looked at his friend. It was not before that. The adventure was noble, he told, and Yana listened and carefully considered the best friend. He changed. Strongly. His shoulders became wider. His height seemed even bigger. He had a pang in his eyes, and his hair was the first gray hair. What happened to him there? And Vanya seemed to not notice this attentive look. He talked and talked about the beauty of the seas and oceans, about where he was, what kind of nature and climate there is, what kind of food they eat there, what interesting and unusual people there are. And he told all this so interestingly that Yana could imagine every detail that Ivan was talking about. Have you been home? Not yet. I'm from the ship right to you. You are so shameless. Your mom must have been waiting for you. I will go home right now, don't worry. Tell me how you lived here. Does Yura offend you? No. He is a wonderful husband. He helps, supports. I am lucky with him. I am glad for you. Thank you. They talked until the evening. Yura didn't believe when he first came in. Vanya. You? Hello, friend. Well, you're a conspirator, of course. Why didn't you say you'd come? I would have taken a day off. We could have a sit. Yeah, I didn't think about it, sorry. How long will you stay with us? I don't know yet. Well, if you need help, contact me. Okay, so, I'm sitting at your place. It's time to know the honor. See you tomorrow. Ivan didn't want to impose himself. He saw the look in the eyes of Yura, who clearly didn't like his presence. That's why he hurried away, and didn't have time to tell that he earned money for his own apartment on this trip, and wanted Yana to help him choose. Yura, what was that look? What look? Don't pretend to be stupid. I saw how unfriendly you looked at Vanya. The sun seemed to you, and I was just surprised by his arrival. Don't lie to me, please. I don't understand what he didn't please you with. It's okay. You're just making fun of yourself. But Yana knew that she didn't like it, and she didn't like this look. They look at their rival like that. And Vanya is not Yuri's rival, and he should understand this. The girl tried to explain this to her husband that same evening, but he just waved and they barely had a fight. Yuri was angry at one mention of Ivan. While he was away, Yana was all alone with him. And now, again on the horizon, this Vanya is dizzy. Meanwhile, Vanya was busy with the selection of a suitable apartment. Accident or coincidence, but the realtor offered him an apartment in the same residential complex that Yana and her husband lived in, and in principle the apartment was good, spacious, with new renovations, already furnished to the minimum, what is needed for the bachelor. He agreed without hesitation and after observing all the formalities, became the owner of the order for his own apartment. I wanted to invite you to the New Year's Eve. Vanya was standing on the threshold and smiling broadly. Have you moved? When? Today. I didn't want to say it earlier. Does your mother know? Of course she knows. How else? Well, let's go. What? Right now? Why wait? Everything is ready and not far away. They left the building, crossed the yard, and entered the next one. Ivan opened the door with a key and spread the door wide. Well, here is my modest abode. We are now neighbors. Come in. Wow, you have a lot of space here. Yes, there is such a thing. I like it. After the closed space of the cabin, I want more space and light. Well, that's right. I wanted to ask, Yura, would you mind if Yanka helps me with choosing some furniture and textiles? I'm a pro fan of this. Yura was not happy, but immediately pulled the benevolence on his face. And if Yana wants, I don't mind. Thank you, friend. In the kitchen, the meals and alcohol were already waiting on the table. Vanya got 3 glasses, but Yana stopped him. I won't. Can I have some juice? What are you doing? You always agreed before. Yana smiled slyly, looking at her husband. I would be happy, but I can't. Yura was confused and turned to his wife. Vanya grabbed Yana and circled around. Then, as if remembering, he put her on the floor and left abruptly. Congratulations. I hope I will be a god. Of course, another candidature is not considered. Yura still looked at these two and did not understand anything. Yana, what are you talking about? What god? Yura, what are you talking about? Come on, turn on your brain. Are you pregnant? Yes. You know it for a long time? No, I found out 2 days ago. The test showed 2 stripes. Are you sure? Well, I did 3 different and everywhere a positive result. Although the second strip is weakly visible. Of course, you need to go to the hospital tomorrow to confirm for sure, but I'm sure that pregnant. I'm so glad, honey. Can I come with you tomorrow? Of course you can. The doctor took the device to the zip and to the flat belly of Yana and showed a small spot on the screen, which was their baby. Yura tried to look at the child's outline in this spot, but nothing came out. Is everything okay? Yes, the fetus develops within the norm. Now we will fill in the map and put you on the list. We will still need to pass some tests, and then the nurse will tell you when to come back. Yura was silent. He quietly followed Yana, waiting for her at the doors of the offices she entered. One, then the second, the third. The endless queue of doctors and analysts tired him out. At the next door, Yura gave a voice. Yana, I'll wait for you in the car, okay? Okay, dear, just don't leave without warning. Well, have I ever done that? No, sorry, I don't know why I said that. In the office, Yana's blood pressure was high. She was dizzy and dark in her eyes. She was quickly brought to her senses, brought to the tent, a glass of water, measured her blood pressure, but she still felt a little dizzy. The woman hurried out into the street for fresh air. She slowly walked to the parking lot, wanted to go home and lie down, But to her great surprise, the car was not there. Maybe he stopped? Yana said it herself and took out her phone. Yura didn't answer the phone number. She tried again and again, but at the end of the wire there was silence. She was already in the distance, went across the whole parking lot, but there was no car and husband here. After thinking over all possible options and not finding a single right one, Yana dialed Ivan's number. Hello, Yana. Is everything okay? No, in general. I'm in the hospital. Can you pick me up? Where is Yura? I don't know. He was here, then disappeared. He doesn't answer the phone. Maybe something strange happened? Maybe. I don't know. Okay, throw away your location. I'll be there soon. Thank you. He arrived in minutes. He flew into the parking lot at full speed and, seeing Yana, he stopped. The door to the car opened in front of her. Sit down. Did you eat today? No, I didn't have time. Then let's go eat? Okay. Sitting at the table in the cafe, Yana thoughtfully drank mint tea. Her gaze was detached from the thoughts far from here. I don't understand, Ivan. What could have happened? He never did that before. I don't know. Maybe it's really something urgent. It's strange that he didn't warn and didn't answer the phone. I called him, but the same story. I understand everything, of course, but I don't like this act. Well, I see. I would be angry too. Okay, let's change the topic. Are you better? Yes, a lot. Probably I should have eaten. That's great. It's not too late. Maybe you can help me choose a carpet. I want a soft and fluffy one so that I can sleep on it. Well, let's go. They spent more than an hour in a large shopping mall. As a result, they chose a big fluffy carpet with a huge chocolate-colored warts. Ordered 2 soft chairs and some small things. Tuiles, curtains in the bedroom, kitchen towels, and a set of dishes, such that everything from spoons to plates and pans is in one color. Already at the exit from the toilet, Yana's phone vibrated. The face of her husband shone on the screen. Vanya, looking over her shoulder and seeing who was calling, grumbled and tactically left. I didn't understand the question. You saw the time. You're not going to be there soon. You just noticed it now? Don't be angry. I had things to do. Is it more important than a pregnant wife? Yes, it's more important, and it's not discussed. Where are you? I'll be home soon. Tell me where I'll take it. I don't need it. Vanya will pick me up. So you're with him? Yes. What? Nothing. Long gurgles were heard in the phone. I threw it away. Yana understood and put the phone in her pocket. Is everything okay? I don't know. He's kind of weird. In what sense is he weird? I screamed. Then I threw the phone away. It's really weird. You know, my friend, I'll probably go visit you. I don't like it all. Thank you. Yana opened the door with her key. It was dark in the hallway. She clicked the switches and the room was lit by a warm light of a lamp. Heard the shuddering footsteps. Yura came out of the room. Shuddering. Ah, you appeared. Long time no see. You must have missed your husband. Yura, are you drunk? And where is your friend? He left you then. In the back heard a noise and Vanya entered with the bags. No, he didn't leave. Alas, and you are here. Yura, are you drunk? What do you like, parrots? Are you hungry? Well, you drank a little further. So, you're not sober. Go to sleep. We'll talk tomorrow. No, dear wife, we'll talk now. About what? About how you left me alone in the hospital. Or about where you were and why you didn't answer the phone. It's none of your business. Then we have nothing to talk about. Yura, go to sleep. You don't understand what you're talking about. Vanya was nervous. He didn't like the state of Yana's husband. He doesn't control himself right now, and anything can happen. The man touched her hand. Jan, maybe you can come to me for now? I don't want to leave you alone. No, don't worry. Everything will be fine. Yes, Vanechka, everything will be fine. Go home and let us sort it out ourselves, without the third one. Call me if you need me. Okay? Yes, thank you for helping with the bags. You're welcome. Ivan silently came out and quietly closed the door behind him. Yura, what's going on? My wife is cheating on me. That's what's going on. Are you crazy? You're the one who's crazy. If you think I'll close my eyes to your relationship with this smelly girl, you're making me fall in love. Is the child his too? In the silence of the apartment, the sound of the tickling was particularly loud. Don't you dare say that. The child is yours, and Vanya is just my friend. Yes, my friend, and if you still want to keep our relationship, then be silent, or go to sleep, or I will leave. Yes, go wherever you want. I don't need you. Who needs an unfaithful wife? Made me a scoundrel, and you are. He bought shrimps, scallops, and squid in the store, and now he is cooking them. The pasta was boiling in the pan, and the sauce was boiling on the pan, spreading delicious smells around the apartment and the entrance. They rang the doorbell, and he hurried to wash his hands and open the door. Yana, who was crying, stood at the door. Can I stay with you for a couple of days? What kind of questions? Of course, come in. Thank you. Tell me what happened. Why did he get drunk? I didn't understand it myself. He claims that I cheated on him. With you. Bullshit. I would never. I know. I do too, but he doesn't seem to understand. Don't worry. He'll come to sleep. I'm not sure what to say to him. He said that the child is not his. Well, do you want me to talk to him? No, we'll figure it out ourselves. Well, look for yourself. They had dinner together. Ivan put Yana to sleep in the bedroom, and he lay on the couch in the living room. The dream did not go away. The events of today and Yana's words were spinning in my head. His child. He wanted children. Not with her, no. In principle, he had long matured for marriage, but somehow the suitable woman did not meet. He seems not a freak. With money, good job, apartment, car, and women did not stay with him. They left without explaining what was wrong. He instantly allowed himself to imagine how he would act, whether I was his wife and whether her child was theirs in general. A smile appeared on his lips. Yura is a fool. He does not appreciate that he got it so easily. In his place, Vanya would blow dust from his wife. And this one threw her away, even when she needed him. Do loving husbands do this? Well, it's clear to a fool that Yana is in love with her husband without memory. If Vanya wanted to, Yana would have driven him away. It was difficult to wake up in the morning. The head was heavy from a sleepless night. But someone persistently rang the doorbell, disrupting his peace, and Vanya got up and went to open it. Yana, do you have it? Yura asked the question from the door. A strong burn smelled on the man, and he bent over. And what is this to you? Have you come to explain your relationship? Yes, you are a weirdo. You are not sure that she will listen to you. No, I called and she does not answer. I am worried. She is sleeping and I will not wake her up. Come later, and for God's sake, get yourself in order. She is carrying a burden on you. And keep in mind, if you hurt Yanka, I will kill you. I will not see that you are her husband, understood? Vanya, at least you do not start, huh? I realized that I was wrong. Yura left. The man closed the door and went to the kitchen. Since he is not sleeping, he will cook them breakfast. He brewed herbal tea brought from China, where they stood in the port for a couple of days. Then he fried the crickets and boiled the pochade eggs, quickly crushed. The salad and heated the croissants bought yesterday in the bakery on the corner. What does it smell so delicious? Sleepy Yana entered the kitchen. She looked so cute and comical in his pajamas, which he gave her yesterday to change. What did Vanya say? Feed me. I'm starving. Everything is ready. Sit down. Delicious. Yana was focused on chewing, reading the news on the phone. Yana. What? Did Yura call you? Yes, he called. I saw the missed call, but I don't want to talk to him. He came. I said to come later. Are you ready to talk to him? No, not ready, but you need to do it, otherwise he will think even more. When Yura came, Vanya went to the store, giving them time to talk without witnesses. When he returned, they still discussed something, so he went out and sat down at the bench near the entrance. He did not know how long he sat, but from the thought of it, he heard a sound similar to crying. Listening, the man realized that the crying was not a child, but some kind of animal. He got up and went to the sound. Under one of the balconies he found a spring. There was a little fluffy kitten sitting there and meowing. "Hey, buddy, where's your mom?" Of course, the kitten did not answer, but it was clear that the cat's mother was clearly not around. They threw it again. A woman passing by, who was a native woman, shook her hands. They threw it? Well, yes, bastards. All the cats in the neighborhood are taken to our yard, as if there are no other places. Nothing. Give it to me. Why? Will you take it to yourself? I have nothing else to do. I'll carry the block home. I'll take it away and that's it. Thank you. It's unnecessary. This kitten is mine. The phone rang. A message lit up on the screen. Yana wrote, "Called home." Without releasing the kitten, he decidedly moved home, ignoring the eyes of the passerby lady. "Vanya, where have you been? I thought you were in the room, but you weren't." "Yes, I was in the yard, breathing in the air. By the way, I'm not alone, but with the apartment." "God, where did you take it?" "Someone threw it out, and I picked it up." "Will you live with me?" "You just need to come up with a name." I sat down on the bedside table, stretched out my hand, stroked the new resident, but Yura grabbed her hand, abruptly pulling it off the kitten. "Don't touch it. Maybe it's a..." "Okay, Vanya, thanks for the hospitality. We're going home." "Everything okay?" "Yes, thanks. See you later, bye." They left, and Vanya was left alone with a new resident. "Well, cat, you will live with me? You need to buy yourself out and take it to the vet. There we will find out who you are." In the clinic, they said that the kitten is a girl, healthy. They prescribed vitamins, gave the means from the dead, a list of food recommendations and what to buy first. Together with the kitten, he went to the zoo, bought the necessary food, a carrier, a pillow, a cacti, vitamins, a can with a filler, some toys, a wool comb, and a shampoo for her. Then he went home and collected and put all this good stuff at home. The kitten did not interfere. He played with new toys and rode on a fluffy carpet until he fell asleep. He was waiting for news from his girlfriend and constantly looked at his phone while waiting for the call. He was worried that Yura would not be surprised and upset the woman. Yana did not call. Ivan waited for several days, but then could not stand it and dialed her number himself. For a long time, no one answered, and then the woman took the phone. Her voice was lifeless, somewhat quiet. "Vanya, don't call me anymore. We'd better not see each other for some time." "Yana, what are you talking about?" "I decided so. It's not discussed. Understand me. My family is more important. We will have a child soon. I am not ready to sacrifice everything for our friendship." She did not listen to him, just dropped the phone. The man tried to call back, but apparently, his number was added to the blacklist. The phone was ringing every time he called Yura or Yana. It was upsetting. They have been friends for so many years. He has always been there, helping and supporting. He thought he would become their godson, and he was thrown out of life as an extra detail, like this kitten who sleeps sweetly on his carpet. And for what? For no reason, just someone felt something. Vanya, of course, guessed that Yuri did not like their friendship, but he never crossed the allowed border, did not interfere with their lives, so he appeared from the river and that's it. Okay, he will survive. He has a cat, he has parents and his favorite job. Ayana, let him live happily. He will not interfere. She is not small, she made her choice. It was also easy to throw her out of her life, but it did not work. Every day he looked for her figure in the yard. Passing by their house, he unwittingly looked out of their window. Sometimes it even seemed to him that he saw unclear outlines of her body outside the window, but he understood that it was just a feeling. Gradually he got cold. He stopped looking for meetings, trying to reach out, did not recognize the latest news through the general acquaintances, and got to work. His cat Nida was waiting for him at home. Yes, the dog's name, but it was just right. First, she was a foundling, and secondly, as she grew older, she had more dog-like furrows than a cat. She brought things and toys in her teeth, like a real dog, and waited for Vanya to throw them away. Then she ran and brought them back. She did not like guests, hissed and bent her back when Ivan brought someone home. He bent up to get up, and when he straightened out, he met with Yana. She was standing, wrapped in a robe, and looked into the distance, as if expecting someone. She looked scared and somewhat twitching. It felt like she was going to run away from the place. Yana? Hello. What are you standing here alone? It's just that everything is fine. Go home. I'll stand a little and go too. The car that entered the yard lit up her face with the light of the headlights, and Vanya trembled. Hey. At that moment another car came up. Yana was all crouched. Please leave. Yura has arrived. I have to go. She turned around and hurried to the house, leaving the man in a daze to watch her follow. This meeting did not come out of his head. How could it fall like that? Nonsense. Something happened, but he was not dedicated to details. Why did Yana go so far? She should know that he will help her. Whatever happens, he's always on her side. He called all his friends, as if without meaning to ask about Yana. It turned out that since the very day she called him for the last time, no one had seen her. She broke all ties, quit her job, and stayed at home. Yura answered the same questions to all his friends. She has a strong toxicosis, a threat of a throwaway. She has a bedridden. But what Ivan saw today did not connect with what he learned. Yura beats her? He tried to reach out to the woman again, but still unsuccessful. And after a while, everyone was shocked by the terrible news. Yana is in a mental hospital. This was told to him by his mother. She talked to the women's parents, and they told her that Yana had been behaving strangely lately, said to herself, stopped sleeping and eating, and eventually attacked her husband. She had to be admitted to the clinic for treatment. Poor girl, who knew that this would happen? Poor Yura can't find her place. She blames herself. All this story has stressed the man, but he couldn't believe that such an absolutely healthy woman, a future mother, could go on a roof. Not Yana for sure. Several calls and he found out the address of the clinic she was in, and another call, and he has permission to visit. He flew along the highway, overtaking the dull cars, not looking at traffic lights and not thinking about the consequences at all. Only one thought was running through my head. Yana couldn't. It's all a lie. It was gloomy in the room. Through the dense curtains and locked windows, the light almost did not come. Yana was lying on the bed, shamelessly leaning on the wall. On the background of a thin body, her belly seemed huge. She was about to give birth. When the door opened, she didn't even move. She just sighed. Ivan carefully sat on the bed and began to stroke her hand. She shivered, but did not turn around. January. She shivered again, and then, with surprise, looked at him. Vanya? Vanya, you came. You won't believe it. Nobody believes me. She grabbed herself with her hands and cried. She spoke continuously, often listening to something and trembling. Her thin hands were covered with yellowed bruises. Horror and fear flashed in her eyes. He was jealous, terribly jealous of you. When we stopped talking, it seemed that everything was fine, but then Yura became not his own. In every man he saw his rival, in every woman my accomplice. At first I tried to talk to him, discuss, tried to solve the problem, but he did not listen. He was like a paranoid, followed me everywhere. He persuaded me to quit my job, took my phone, stopped releasing me from the apartment, went to the store himself, accompanied me to the hospital. Yana, how is it? Once the doctor smiled at me. He just smiled when he said, the child's gender, said that it was a girl. Yura was patient, and at home hit me. said that I probably sleep with this doctor, that he will take me to clean water, that he will not tolerate betrayal and will raise a faithful wife from me. He began to often swing, could give on the cheek or push, turned out his hands, and then asked for forgiveness, fell into his feet and begged to forgive him. Why didn't you leave him? I tried. He stopped going to work, started locking me up with the key. I even went to the toilet under his supervision. And then he saw us together. Then you remember the entrance. I found the key and went out, wanted to run away, and then you. I didn't have time. He was screaming then, throwing everything that would fall under his hand into the wall. One shrapnel from the vase that he threw at me and didn't get it flew away and hit his face. Blood flowed, and he called an ambulance. Said it was me. That I attacked him. Said to everyone that this is not the first time. That I talked to myself, and that I caused all the bruises and injuries to myself. He told everyone that I was crazy. He took me here, and he was believed. Even my parents believe this man. I'm afraid, Vanya. I'm afraid he'll take my daughter, and I'll stay here forever. It won't happen. Don't worry. I'll get you out. How? I'll think of something. You just stay here. Thank you. Don't leave me. Please come more often. I'll go crazy here. They're giving me pills. I feel bad about them. I'm not thinking straight. Baby, I'll come, and don't tell anyone. Okay? Yes, okay. Thank you. He thought all night what to do. Telling someone is not an option. Yura will find out right away. Talking to him is also useless. If he behaved like that, then nothing will change. We need to act. The question is how? Having spent a sleepless night, Vanya found a solution. And although it was difficult to implement, but it is possible. In the morning, he started to act. Mom, I'm leaving. Where, son? To the taiga. Why? I can't live like this. I love Yana. It hurts to look at them. At her illness, I held back as much as I could, but I can't anymore. I want to live in the distance. I was offered a good job there. I agreed. I'll live in the distance. I'll think. Maybe I'll meet a girl. And Nida? Son, maybe you'll live with us? No, Mom. I decided everything. The money opens many doors. It's good that Ivan had enough of them. Giving the bribe to whoever he needed, he was able to falsify the premature births of Yana. The husband will be notified in 2 hours. During this time, they will have time to hide. The house is already rented and waiting for its residents. The main thing is to have time to leave. Yana trembled. Her nerves were stretched to the limit. She quickly got into the car and hid her eyes under a dark cap. Where are we going? Far away. No one will find you there if you don't tell them yourself. Thank you. You're welcome. The journey took almost a day. Vanya threw his phone out on the road. He bought another one with a new SIM card. It was warm in the house. They were waiting for them. Having handed over the keys and shown everything, the owner left, leaving the refugees alone. Vanya, I'm afraid. What if there are any children? I have 2 weeks left, not more. Don't worry, I thought about it. There is a village nearby. There is a good doctor. He gave me the number and address. If the childbirth starts, she will come. Everything will be fine. What if Yura will look for me? He will, but by that time you will be divorced. I will take care of it. A small stream nearby. All this was beneficial for the woman. An appetite appeared. The painful skin and dark circles disappeared. She stopped shaking from every rustle. Vanya was always nearby, protecting the woman's peace and watching over her condition. At first, Yana did not leave the house at all. All her time she spent at the fireplace with Nadia on her hands. The cat never hissed at Yana. On the contrary, she immediately jumped on her hands and began to purr like a little motor, causing a smile. The woman went for a walk in the forest paths, not far from home, but she liked the greatness of the multi-century pines, soft moss under her feet, whose smell was incomparable to the city. They and Vanya walked behind the mushrooms and caught fish, And in the evening we cooked a delicious dinner from all this, which the woman enjoyed with great pleasure. Ivan was a few times distracted somewhere. On arrival, he smiled and put some papers on the signature. Yana trusted him. She knew that he would not harm her. One day Vanya was very surprised. Yana, let's get married. What? You will soon become free. Your daughter needs a father, and you have protection. I will never hurt you. Yes, I love you since childhood. You can say, come out for me. Vanya, I don't know. I love you, yes, but I know this is not the love I would like. But believe me, my love is enough for two. Think about it. I will do everything for your daughter and happiness. But I'm married. It won't be long. The process has gone, and believe me, you will be divorced and even the connections of your parents and Yura will not help. But how? I dug into his past, and I found out that their family had been hiding for so long. Believe me, you better not know the details, but believe me, he will answer for everything he did to you. It was divorced a few days after this conversation, and 2 more days later they quietly signed in the village office. No dress, flowers, and rings, just signed the documents and went out as a husband and wife. And in the evening, Yana had a fight. Ivan immediately called the doctor, who on his own car rushed to them and helped a beautiful baby appear in the light, which they called the Golden One. Vanya did not take a step back, watching the birth of his daughter. It was his daughter. He loved this child, and it does not matter that he is not the father. For him, she is his own, and he will never change his opinion. Young mom felt great. The doctor, having written a report on the home births, wished them happiness, leaving recommendations and promising to return in the morning, took place. Yana was sleeping, tired, and Vanya could not take her eyes off the baby, which she sleepily snored in her cradle. He gently took the blood on his hands and kissed. She got carried away. Yana woke up. Give me her. Vanya could have been looking at his girls for hours. Nothing more beautiful than a mother feeding him he never saw in his life. From the feelings that came out, the heart was crumpled. I love you. Yana did not answer anything. She happily smiled at him and stroked his hand lying on her shoulder. Thank you. I don't know how I would have survived all this if it weren't for you. I will always be next to you. They lived in a house in this forest. I didn't want to return to the noisy city. Ivan told his mother that he was married, told about everything without a shelter. The only thing he hid was their place of residence. The woman in response told about Yuri. He tore and metal, poured his and Yana's dirt, searched for them, and then sold the apartment and disappeared. A scandal broke out. The whole city was buzzing with what Ivan brought to the public. Father Yuri tried to stop everything, but it didn't work out. Let Yana call her parents. They don't find a place for themselves. They worry. It's scary to look at her mother. She doesn't sleep at night. She's afraid to miss her daughter's call. Don't torture the old people. Yana called them on the same day. Everyone was crying. There were a lot of tears, explanations, and answers to questions that had been hanging in the air for a long time. The woman apologized and promised to come back someday, when her granddaughter will grow up a little. And then she couldn't stand the mother's tears and told where they were. Ivan heard it too late. He was cutting firewood for the fireplace at that time, and when he came in, it was too late. She said it in vain. Yura can find out. But his parents won't tell him. They may not tell him, but what will stop him from following? I don't think he will do it. You heard it yourself. He moved. I really hope you'll be right. Yana's parents came. They talked all evening, hugged and cried. Yana told them everything that had happened to her over the past year. They didn't let the baby go down with her grandmother and grandfather, and they didn't get tired of thanking Vanya. Thank you, son, for helping our daughter. We are fools. The old people believed in Yuri. He lied so truthfully. We couldn't even think that everything was so serious. How shameful we are. They spent a week with them. They rested, played with their granddaughter, talked to their daughter. Ivan brought the dough for the fish, and the mother-in-law for the mushrooms. Everyone was happy with the meeting. After the parents left, Yana kept smiling. They brought a new stroller, and now, when she was pregnant, she regularly went out with the baby for a walk. She walked around the house for a long time, sometimes took a blanket, a snack, and a book. When the baby fell asleep, Yana spread the blanket by the trees in the shade, sat down and read. Ivan came, put her head on her knees, and they sat like that until it started to twinkle or until the gold was required to eat. Gradually, there was a shift in their relationship. Yana began to look at her husband differently. She saw love and care in his eyes, and she wanted to answer the same. At such moments, pleasant warmth poured into the soul. Then she came up to Ivan, stroked his face and shoulders, and easily, almost weightlessly, kissed. He did not answer, stood still, afraid of being scared. He just quietly whined from this gentle affection. Time passed. The evil grew. Yana no longer sided with her husband. She took him with all her heart and fell in love. Parents came regularly, and even the spouses traveled to the city, with their daughters several times to their relatives, but they still lived far away. Yana and Ivan liked such a united life. He got a job in the village. Yana was engaged in the job with her daughter, and the money she received was transferred to them. The events of the past were gradually forgotten. Filling these wounds with good and happy moments, they were happy that Zlata sat down for the first time. And then, after a couple of months, without much effort, she got up on her tiny legs and went. When she found Vanya on the couch, she took the collar over the baby and followed her on her feet wherever she went. The fact that this cat managed to find a host in the forest and brought offspring right from the bed. For incredibly fluffy kittens, which they later built in the neighboring village. One of them, by the way, was taken by their doctor, who helped them to be born as golden babies. She later became the godmother of the girl, sincerely befriending this family. They were happy for every moment of their joint life. Vanya remembered how Yana cried when he brought the cute golden rings from the city. "We are married, and there are no rings, we need to fix it." He carefully put Yana on a golden ring finger, and she cried from the overflowing feelings. "I regret." "About what?" "About not seeing you for so long. My happiness was under my nose, and I was looking for it anywhere, but not nearby. It happens, it's not your fault. The main thing is that we are together, and we have a whole life ahead." The evil has grown, and the issue of returning to the city has become sharp. In 6 months, the baby turns 4, and she needs to learn socialization. It's good here in the forest, but the child only plays with toys, parents, and a cat. She needs to communicate with her peers, develop, because it's not far from the mountains and school. The rent contract with the tenants is about to end, and then they will return to Ivan's apartment. They were slowly packing their things. He took something to his mother, sent something by mail, so that he could carry at least a few things with him on the day of departure. On that bad day, Ivan was in the yard, mumbling in the car. For some reason it was so deaf, and it was necessary to fix everything before departure. He focused on turning the bolt when he heard strange whispers from the dense forest. He remembered that Yana and the baby had gone to pick berries. He threw himself at the sound. The picture that opened up to him shocked the man, forcing him to freeze for a moment. There was gold on the forest glade, which was covered in a dress. A man was lying at her feet, and Yana was standing next to him with a big stick in her hands. Vanya grabbed the daughter by the hand and approached his wife. What happened? He was starting to get a bump on his forehead. He was lying, with his hands stretched out, pale and slouching. The cheek was darkened by the bristles, the lips cracked, but he was breathing and it was already pleasing. "He found us. We were just walking and then he grabbed the gold, and I didn't know what to do." "Did you hit him?" "Yes, I didn't want to. I was scared." "Don't worry, everything will be fine. Take the gold and go home. I'll figure it out myself." Don't come out of the house barefoot. Close yourself and don't come out until I call you. Understood? The woman grabbed the girl, nodded, and hurried to hide. Vanya took off his belt pants and tied his hands tightly to Yuri. He stopped when the man raised him on his shoulder, but did not wake up. Ivan took Yuri home and put him at the porch. He moved and opened his eyes. I looked at Ivan with a blurry look and turned a hateful look on him. I was shocked. Why did you come? I have the right. This is my wife and daughter. You will not take them from me. You are mistaken. I am my wife, and according to all the documents, Zlata is my daughter. She has nothing to do with you. I will prove that this is my child. You can try, but I do not advise you to contact me. Go away. Leave our family alone. This is my family. Ivan didn't answer anything. He took out his phone and dialed the number of the local district officer. He briefly explained the situation to him and asked to come. Do you think the police will stop me? I didn't do anything bad. You tried to kidnap my daughter and threaten my wife. That's enough. Yuri spilled curses. He tried to get up on his feet, but a strong push put him back on his feet. Soon the police officer arrived. He listened to Vanya, then talked to Yuri, changed the belt on the handcuffs, and called someone. An hour later, several police cars were parked in the yard. Yuri was put in the car and taken away, warning Vanya that tomorrow he would have to come to the precinct to give testimony. And take your wife and daughter with you. The district police officer did not leave with everyone, and he stayed here. I brewed him some aromatic tea and told them the story. Your ex-husband is a rare bastard. I think he will not leave all this so easily. You will have to try to get rid of him. But I will go with you tomorrow. I will also testify. I know you are not the first year. You are good people. I will help as much as I can. Thank you very much. The crossing was decided to be moved. The next morning they gathered the remaining things and set off. Yana was sitting like a needle. She was worried and afraid to meet her ex-husband, but she needs to close this chapter in life. Otherwise, they will not see a peaceful life. In the plot, they were met by Father Yuri and his lawyer. I did not expect such a scoundrel from you, Yana. You knew that your son Monster was hiding this, covering all his crimes. Have you not felt sorry for your pregnant granddaughter, and you still dare to make claims? Ivan barely held his anger. He kept his self-control from the last few forces, realizing that if it breaks, it will only be on the hand of the lawyer Yuri. You don't have to teach me. You will pay for everything you have done. We'll see. I answered the investigator's questions for a long time. Ivan was very angry while waiting in line. While he was waiting, his old friend, who was a lawyer, came up to him. Don't worry, I'm prepared. These bastards filed a lawsuit for kidnapping you and for attacking Yana. And he also requires an expertise on fatherhood. What can we do? Believe me, I didn't eat my bread in vain, but I deserved a cognac from you. The best. Agreed. After the investigator talked to each side, a decision was made about the court. Before that, Yuri was put under surveillance. I couldn't find my place. All these hearings, curses, drinks, women, all nerves. She already regretted returning to the city. How calmly it was there, in the forest, where there was no threat above your head, where you could breathe calmly. And then the trial took place. It was terrible, but it was worth it. It was worth all the money and nerves spent. Advocate Yana and Ivan were really the best. It turns out that the husband did not just leave all these years in the city. He collected information and consulted with the lawyers. At the trial, Yuri behaved callously. He was sure that he would win, but did not take into account that Ivan was also not ready to give up. He promised to protect his family and will do it at any cost. Yuri smiled while his lawyer was reading the claims, demands, and calling witnesses. But when he came out and took the word from Ivan's friend, all the joy flew away from him in one moment. All the dirty details of Yuri's life before marriage. It turns out that Yuri, who had studied abroad for some time, distributed drugs, and of low quality. As a result, several people died. Then his guilt was not proven. There were witnesses who confirmed his activity and the fact that his father started this business with money and connections. And then he was taken to his homeland, where the law would not reach him. Still being her husband, and another one of the psychiatry clinic's healthcare workers who confirmed that Yuri paid a lot of money for a false diagnosis and raped his wife in the clinic, that he paid for her stay in the hospital, and that she was being pitted with strong drugs. Under the threat of an increase in the term, the doctor confirmed and issued Yuri's plans. He hoped to wait for his wife's birth, take his daughter and blackmail her child, so that she would not risk running away or calling the police on him. The doctor who took the birth from Yana confirmed that the child was born in a marriage and that Ivan was the father. Only with the permission of the parents, Yuri can receive biomaterial for analysis for fatherhood, and the parents are categorically against it. The district police officer who came to the call first confirmed that Yuri was trying to kidnap someone else's child and threatened Yana and Ivan. In the end, the court recognized the man guilty by several articles and sentenced him to custody. Neither expensive lawyers nor father's money helped. The case of drugs with all the records of witnesses was also passed abroad. There it will be judged according to the entire strictness of the law. Participants of the machinations in the clinic were called to answer, and there will be a court over them too. Finally, justice was rebelled. Yana sighed with relief when she heard the court decision. Now there is nothing to be afraid of. Even if Yuri is released, it is forbidden for him to approach them, otherwise he will be in prison again. Thanks to Ivan, her life will finally be calm. They noted this in a cafe not far from home. Ivan bought the most expensive horse for his friend, who helped him win this case. Already at home, late in the evening, when Zlata saw the 10th dream, Yana pressed on her husband and cried, "Baby, what's wrong? Everything is fine." These are tears of joy and relief. Finally, everything is fine. I'm so tired of being afraid. I promised you, you are safe with me. I will not allow anyone to hurt my girls. And the boys? What boys? Yana laughed and kissed her husband. I'm pregnant, and maybe there will be a boy. Are you serious? Are you kidding? Say you're not kidding. No, I'm not kidding. I'm pregnant. Ivan couldn't find a place for himself then, for happiness. They will have a baby. Zlatka will have a brother or a sister. He is the happiest man on earth. He kissed his wife and circled around the room, and then they lay on a warm, fluffy carpet for a long time. Ivan stroked his wife's belly, leaning on his ear, trying to hear the baby's movement and talking to him. You are so funny. It's too early. He doesn't move yet and doesn't hear you. He hears everything. Right, baby? Dad is waiting for you and loves you very much. Grow up big and happy. Dad will take care of it. We will protect and love our mommy together. She felt the Javu when she felt sick again in the cabinet of the blood fence. Cold sweat ran through her back from the memories. Not paying attention to weakness, the woman jumped out of the cabinet and immediately agreed to the embrace of her husband. Be careful, dear. Where are you rushing so much? It seemed to me that you had left. How could I? Didn't I say that I was waiting for you at the office? You can't be nervous. I know, but I can't do anything to myself. I understand. So I'll do something about it. How about a delicious lunch in a restaurant, and then a park of entertainment and ice cream? It would be wonderful, but first you need to take the gold from Mom. So finish your business here, and let's go. And you wait? Of course, how else? And they no longer remembered Yuri. His father tried to demand a meeting with his granddaughter, but Yana responded with a categorical refusal, and he backed out. Sometimes only Yura's mother called, and Yana allowed her to walk with them on the playground or in the park. The woman sincerely regretted what had happened and apologized many times for not being able to do anything to protect her granddaughter and daughter-in-law. The evil grew. She went to the garden. When the girl for the first time brought her drawing from the garden, where her family was depicted, Ivan did not hold back and shed a tear. On the picture, an uneven human being was drawn with a child's hand. Mom with her long hair, she herself, Cat Nita, little brother, and dad in the form of a navy. When the fights began with Yana, Ivan was close from beginning to end. He was present at the birth of his son, as he once watched. He looked at his wife with love and was surprised by her resilience. So small, fragile, but so strong in spirit. How much did she have to go through to gain the deserved happiness? He will never hurt her, and every day will be grateful for the love and children he gave, for the happiness he gained next to his beloved. They called their son Bogdan, and this tiny little man, and even more strengthened their love and relationship, becoming the general favorite of the family. Zlata adored the little brother. He was so funny and tiny. Mom allowed him to play with them, helped them swim, and the girl gladly helped. And the baby has so many grandmothers and grandfathers, and everyone loves her very much and gives her a lot of gifts, toys, sweets, and beautiful dresses. She always wears the most beautiful, especially when she goes for a walk with her dad. He is so big and tall. When she gets tired, he puts her on his shoulders, and she is so tall, higher than her mom, higher than her brother, and even higher than her dad. And the favorite place for Yana and Ivan was the amusement park. They went there every weekend, walked the blooming alleys, ate sweet cotton and ice cream, watched the games of their children, and there was no pair happier than this.